Hello, hello, friends. Welcome to today's episode. Thank you so much for being here. Micah and I thank you as he is absolutely snoring in the wrap. So I'm sure you will hear him because in this position, my mouth needing to be close to the microphone, but his face being close to my face, you're just going to hear his heavy breathing and his snoring as well. But it's all right. We're here. It's all good. I hope you're having a great February and everything is just going well for you, whether you're in the challenge right now working with me in the Chasing Greatness group or hustling and doing your own thing, trying out new things this year. I hope you are just in a good groove. And if not, I hope that, you can reassess and find that groove quickly. Today, we're going to talk about ways to beat the bloat, ways to beat bloating. Bloating is a really big topic. There are many angles and approaches you can take to this. I will say, first and foremost, the only way to really diagnose what is causing you to bloat is by getting some kind of testing done, like stool testing, blood test, possibly those kinds of things. I personally have never done this. I am interested in knowing the results. I also think that there can be a borderline obsession with getting things exactly perfect, never bloating, never this, that. And overall, I'm pretty, I don't notice that it's always when I eat gluten or always when I have starchy vegetables or always whatever. I just probably like you, if you're listening to this podcast, bloat from time to time. And when I do, like none of us love it. Maybe more of us do around our cycles, things like that. But um, that is the only foolproof kind of quote unquote way to get the exact answer for why you're bloating. However, beyond that, there can be many other reasons that cause us to bloat. The next biggest, the biggest reason, because I didn't really talk about a reason yet, that is just the most exact way to do it. But one of the biggest reasons is food intolerances or just aggravations. I don't even have that on this list. That's a little bonus one because I think that's kind of a no-brainer, but it might be newer to you, where certain people don't break down lactose very well. Certain people don't tolerate gluten super well. So I would definitely just try to pay attention to your body and see if you can find patterns. Something for me that I've noticed is that my body doesn't typically digest white carbs very well unless they have been fermented, unless it's like a sourdough or something like that. If I just have like white fast food pizza, I'm gonna definitely feel bloated later. I usually feel bloated after I drink beer. There are certain things I know it would just be better for me to stay away from. Then that gives me a choice. Like, am I gonna have it anyways and feel bloated, or am I going to forego it because I don't want to deal with the bloating? So above all, pay attention to what's going on with your body. If you're like me and you don't want to dive into the world of testing, then I would just try to pay attention to what your body's doing. If you do want to go for the testing, like awesome, there's tons of at-home kits. I'm not saying never. It's just something I'm not doing right now because this has not been a huge issue for me. But if bloating is a like pervasive, consistent issue for you, and could be, a simple fix like not eating Brussels sprouts, then I would encourage you to do that or to talk to a doctor or something like that. But these are just some tips I've also talked about in past episodes on bloating. Things like I just mentioned, lactose and gluten, some that are typically big triggers. I'm giving a kind of part two of the tips beyond that here. So you could go back and listen to previous episodes I've done about bloating. But number one on this list, 5 tips to beat the bloat today, is number one is to limit or avoid artificial sweeteners. This is the only one that I'm pretty sure might have made my list before as well, because I've had clients struggle with this where they have isolated things like gluten, like lactose, whatever, and have not found that to be the culprit. But then we've went a little bit deeper into what they're eating, and it's always after a protein bar that has monk fruit sweetener in it or stevia or something that even is supposed to be listed as more natural, but is still causing them to bloat. So pay attention to that. You feel particularly bloated after you eat something like it can be out of the box. Maybe you are like, well, it wasn't dairy, it wasn't a starchy vegetable, it wasn't gluten, but maybe your whey protein has artificial sweeteners and it. Whey is also dairy, but maybe it's the artificial sweetener that's doing it. So I would look to limit or avoid that and just see how you feel. I would try it for a couple days to really get a feel for if that if you think that was it or not. He's being so loud. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure it's really loud on your end. The man is tired. All right. Tip number 2 is to move/include cardio. So studies show that just going for a walk after meals can really help digestion. So that can help get digestion going if you're having an issue bloating. But movement in general is a great combatant for bloating. So I did say include cardio because this is kind of anecdotal here. I personally have felt relief in bloating if I have done exactly that. If I've gone for a walk, just moved my body, not even necessarily in a workout. So maybe if you're strength training and you do get bloated and you don't notice relief from strength training, maybe try going for a walk or adding in some sprints, hopping on a bike for a bit to see if you can get some relief. Cardio helps things move around, helps get your bowels moving. So things like, just taking a walk around the block can help get you some relief that way. All right. Number 3 is to increase fiber slowly. So this tends to be a hot topic for my ladies when we start an 8-week challenge or the simple sustainable fat loss program, it's also called. Where 1 week we really focus on getting our 3 to 5 servings of vegetables. Now, if you are routinely having like 0 amounts of vegetables and then jump up to 5 or 7 servings, you're probably going to throw your system into a little bit of like, whoa, what's going on? It's trying to break all of this down. It's not used to all of this fiber, all these greens, etc. So I would encourage you to just slowly up your fiber and your vegetable intake so that your system doesn't have to go from really processing none to a ton all at once. So that's been super helpful for a lot of my ladies who initially was just like, oh my goodness, I think I can't eat 5 servings of vegetables. They can. It just took a little bit of time for their body to kind of regulate at that amount. Okay. So if you want to like not panic and be like, oh my gosh, I am so bloated or so gassy or whatever, just kind of ramp it up slowly. All right. 2 more tips to beat the bloat. Number 4 is to include prebiotics and probiotics. So probiotics are very buzzy, very big buzzword, very hot right now. I feel like they've been hot a while. And a lot of us know what probiotics are. We take probiotics. Probiotics are found in food as well. So I personally do not take a probiotic or a prebiotic in a capsule or liquid or any of those kind of forms right now. I just try to get it through food. So I'm sure you can Google a list of prebiotics and probiotics. My personal go-tos are flaxseed for prebiotics. I use ground flaxseed in a lot of baking items like muffins, in the energy balls or energy bites that I make every single day for my kids' breakfast. That's all they eat all day, every day. I put ground flax seeds in there. So that's a prebiotic. And then the 2 items that I routinely have that have probiotics are Greek yogurt and kefir to get those probiotics. All right. Last tip. This is a big one. This might even solve 90% of your problems with bloating is to stop eating when you are not hungry anymore. And I cannot tell you the source of where I heard this from, but it was some podcast or something. I really need to get better at quoting my sources. But they were talking about how in other countries, I want to say it was China, but I don't remember what country, that this person was visiting a different country. Okay. Is the gist of it. And in that country, they do not say like, "Oh, are you full?" They say, "Are you still hungry?" And there is a little, it's like, "Oh, is that just a play on words?" But if you think about it, there's a really big difference between stopping when you are full, implying like stuffed to the gills or like at max capacity, or when you are just not hungry anymore. I think that this deviates a little bit from the bloating conversation, but I think a lot of us are programmed to, first of all, never want to feel hunger. Like as soon as we feel the least bit hungry, we're like, I need a snack. I need something. I'm hungry. And no, we don't want to get to the place of absolute like starving, our blood sugar's dropping, we're shaky. We do not want to get to that place at all. But however, it is okay and it is natural to feel hunger. We should feel some hunger between meals so that by the time you get to dinner, you're actually hungry for dinner. You have an appetite for the meal that is ahead. It's not just like a constant flow of eating. And I'm super guilty of that. And I know it's a fine line with being pregnant or then nursing, that for me, especially when I'm nursing, it can be like, oh, I'm fine and I just ate recently, to like, I am shaking and I need something right now. So we obviously don't want to get to that point. However, it's okay to feel hunger and live with it a little bit until your next meal. It's very normal. There's a reason, that we space out our meals to let our bodies digest and then to get an appetite up by the time it's time for our next meal. So there's that. And then the idea of stopping, when you actually are at capacity, not over capacity. And if you routinely eat until you are stuffed, this is a real adjustment. And this is going to take a bit to break that habit, because I think a lot of us do this. Maybe we were raised with the clean your plate kind of mentality, or you eat out a lot and you're used to really big portions. There's all kinds of reasons that we might eat a little more than we should be at our meals. And I would just challenge you to kind of start with doing the old like stop, wait, don't drink a bunch of water, drink a bunch of liquid. Just wait, chat with people if you're eating with other people, and then see if you're hungry. I do this a lot, and my son always picks up on it. My oldest son will be like, Mom, are you good? Like, are you going to eat more? Are you done? I was like, I'm kind of seeing if I'm full. And it does take our bodies, I think research shows, about 20 minutes to realize, our brains to realize that our stomachs are full. So slow it down, assess where your hunger and your fullness are, and make sure you're stopping before you're stuffed. Stop when you are just no longer hungry. All right. You'll probably save on groceries that way too. There's a little bonus grocery saving tip in there. All right, ladies, I hope this was helpful and that even one of these tips can help you to combat the bloat, because it's not fun to feel like the buttons on your jeans are going to pop. And next podcast episode, we are going to talk about how to lose fat without restricting calories. All right. It's going to be a great one. I look forward to that. And in the meantime, make sure you go grab that freebie that I have for you from February. If I haven't talked about it in a while, it's the 10 productivity hacks for stay-at-home moms. You can grab it down below in this description for the podcast. It'd probably be your easiest way. You can also go to the website and it's the pop-up there at healthycatholicmoms.com. So grab that freebie and I will talk to you next episode.